guys, if you're new to Deception Bites, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Okay guys, I'm back. It is Wednesday, October 9th, and it is 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time. I think I'm back on a regular schedule now. The crisis seems to be over. My stepfather is at home with my mom, and he is recovering. It'll probably take him, they told him not to do anything for a month. But the crisis is over, and I'm one of those people that I'm great in a crisis. In fact, I don't even eat or anything. I'm just focused on what I have to get done. I'm all serious. Everything's just, I'm great in a crisis. However, when that crisis is gone, I want to eat the wallpaper off the wall. I don't know what that is, but anyway, I don't have any wallpaper on my wall, but if I did, it would be gone. It would be in my stomach. I can guarantee you. Anyway, what we're going to do tonight, I've got some news here for you. Good news. Well, I think it's good news. You may not. And also, I'm going to try to do 2 videos. However, not both videos will be on this channel. Only this video will be on this channel. I'm going to be setting up my new channel and uploading the other one to that. I will leave you instructions, just like I leave you instructions if I'm not going to be, posting that night or whatever. So what I'll do is I'll leave you instructions how to get there and what the link is. And if you could like, share, and subscribe to that channel as well, it will give me an alternate channel in case anything happens with this one. And I think from here on in, if I do 2 videos in a night, I will post one here and one over there. So I am trying to get organized, and today I spent a lot of time thinking about what I needed to do to get organized and get this kicked up a notch. Also, as I mentioned in the last one, the last video, I am going to be posting the notes from each video on Patreon. So I will leave you you can see it in the description. I've got the link to Patreon. You do not have to be a Patreon subscriber to get the notes from the show. I didn't think that was fair because I know some of you are on a limited income and I just don't want to do that to you. So they are available to everyone there, whether or not you are a Patreon subscriber. All right, I think we're ready to go. So let's dig in. Okay, now the first thing I want to touch on, and also I did want to mention this as well, just a little bit of housekeeping. I've had a couple people since my last video donate via coffee. I've had a couple things come in the mail, and I've had a couple new Patreon subscribers. However, I do not have that together tonight. I will. I just actually got back with the mail and stuff, and I just haven't had a chance to compile. So I will do that on the next video, not the video that's on the other channel, but the next video that's on this channel, my next regular video, which would be tomorrow night. All right, let's get going now. Got all that housekeeping out of the way. All right, so this actually 3 days, 3 nights is just actually reposting this from 8chan, and it says, if you were previously a board owner on 8chan, please email us at admin@8kun.net with your shared secret if you are interested in migrating your board to 8kun. So that will be the new board. I don't believe it's up yet, but that I'm aware of, but it's very close, very close. And now they're putting the word out that if you were a board owner on the previous 8chan, to let them know, apparently you will have a shared secret to prove who you are. And if you want to mitigate your board over to the 8kun board, then please let them know. Now, that probably doesn't apply to any of you guys, but I thought it might, well, it might, number one. Number two, it will also give you an idea of how close we are to getting 8chan back up again, although it's not technically going to be called 8chan, I guess. I don't know. So there you go. I am looking forward to that because I always gleaned so much information there, because when you have a central spot like that everybody is going and contributing to, you really make a lot more headway, because you might have something in the back of your head like, well, I wonder about this, but there's a lot of other people that have been wondering about it as well, and they might have additional information. And if you have a central place to go, you can really dig a lot faster and a lot deeper. So this is good news, and I can't wait for it to come to fruition and be up again. So let's go on to the next thing. And this is very interesting. This is from yesterday. Democrats keeping key impeachment witness transcripts secret. Well, that's a little odd, isn't it? Don't you think? I think it is. House Democrats are trying to impeach U.S. President Donald Trump based on information they are so far keeping secret from the public. Well, I don't think that's going to go over too well in the eyes of the public, because more than 50% of people do not want Donald Trump impeached. And they're certainly not going to want him impeached if they can't even see what it is he has supposedly done, right? So the Democrat-led House Committee on Oversight and Reform Intelligence and Foreign Affairs pursuing the impeachment inquiry are refusing to release the full transcripts of the testimony provided by the first two witnesses. Gee, I wonder why. Why would they not want to release that? Adam? Why? Really? Why? Last week, former U.S. Special Envoy to Ukraine, Kurt Volker, and Intelligence Community IC Inspector General, IC Michael Atkinson, provided their testimony behind closed doors. To the dismay of Republicans, witnesses expected to come to Capitol Hill this week are expected to follow suit. Representatives Eliot Engel, Adam Schiff, and Elijah Cummings have chosen to release bits and pieces of the evidence gathered so far that favors their impeachment effort. They don't have any evidence. Give me a break. When have they ever had evidence of anything against Trump? I mean, real evidence. Never. Never. If they did, it would have stuck by now, because they've thrown every bit of crap they could find at him. Nothing stuck. He's got to be the cleanest person in politics. And that's probably because he wasn't from politics. Anyway, if there was anything to find on Donald Trump, you can be sure they would have found it, because I think they had so many people looking and digging, and they thought finally, well, you know what? We're just going to have to make some stuff up. That didn't stick either. So, to the dismay of Republicans, witnesses expected to come to Capitol. Okay, sorry. So Eliot Engel, Democrat, Adam Schiff's a Democrat, Elijah Cummings is definitely a Democrat, have chosen to release bits and pieces. Well, of course. Engel, Schiff, and Cummings are the committee chairmen leading the impeachment investigation. Just think about that. Think about that. Like the Three Stooges are holding this impeachment investigation. Really? The three most probably dishonest people. Well, no, because you got Pelosi, and I mean, there's so many dishonest Democrats there that it's really hard. If you were to run a contest, I don't know who would win. Really. I think a lot of them would be neck and neck. On Monday, Breitbart News reached out to the House panels for comment on when, if ever, they plan to release the full transcripts, but they refused to answer. What are they, 5 years old? I'm not going to answer you. Irked by the Democrats' refusal to release the full transcripts, whoops, there's a ghost in the machine. Irked by the Democrats' refusal to release the full transcripts, Republican lawmakers who witnessed the testimony firsthand and pundits have called for the information to be made public. Via Twitter, Representative Lee Zeldin on Saturday urged Democrats to release Volker's testimony, which lasted more than 8 hours, so all can read it. He candidly and professionally obliterated the bogus charge by Democrats that President Trump made a quid pro quo offer to his Ukrainian counterpart, Vladimir Zelensky. Yeah, you know why they had to, withdraw that? because they have the transcript of the phone call. Unbelievable, these people. So Lee Zeldin, House Democrats, should immediately release Ambassador Volker's several hour-long transcribed interview so all can read it. He candidly and professionally obliterated the bogus charge POTUS made a quid pro quo offer to Zelensky, connecting aid to Ukraine with an investigation into the Bidens. And as we're going to see soon, tonight, that investigation into the Bidens had already begun before the phone call. So that kind of changes the narrative a bit, don't you think? It changes it a lot. In fact, it just makes it seem outright ridiculous. If the investigation was already started, why would Trump have to shake them down? Doesn't make sense, does it? No, it doesn't. And this by Christopher C. Cuomo. The below is the norm. Odd thing, though, why is this president so quiet about Volker? Not a sour word, and arguably no one has ever been close to as damaging as he. Yeah, okay, Christopher Cuomo. Yeah. You been smoking glue? Put down the crack pipe. So, and Lee Zeldin, of course, came back at that and set the record straight. And then Lee Zeldin said this: it's been 24 hours and the Volker transcript still hasn't been released by the House Democrats. Oh, I'm surprised. No good reason why this hasn't been done yet. Anything to keep the Schiff quid pro quo fairy tale alive one more night. These tactics are unfair to the American public and dividing our great country. Oh, yes, it is. It most definitely is. It's actually not, it's splitting the country, but it's also splitting families and good friends, because it seems like, you know, those that are against Trump are really against him. And see, that was one of the problems I was having, because I love my mother. I love her dearly, and I would do anything for her. But she was staying here while my stepfather was in the hospital, and it was hard for me to do my show because she does not agree with any of it, not any of it. And I could see it was getting under her skin. And she says, I don't even know what you're talking about. And I said, well, that's because it's American politics and you really don't follow American politics. And she said, but it sounds like you're in favor of Trump. And I said, yes, Mother, I am. So she was like, oh. Anyway, I've tried to get her eyes open, and they are like this much. But yeah, I got a lot more work to do there. An intelligence community whistleblower claimed Trump pushed Zelensky to investigate Joe Biden and his son Hunter in exchange for foreign aid during a July 25th call. The allegation triggered the impeachment inquiry. On Friday, Zeldin stressed on Twitter, Volker was very clear yesterday in his testimony that it is untrue. Trump demanded a quid pro quo of Zelensky that U.S. aid was contingent upon investigation by Ukraine into the Bidens, because it wasn't. There was nothing like that said. On Sunday, Zeldin noted, it's been 3 days and Representative Schiff still hasn't released the transcript of Ambassador Volker's interview, instead just cherry-picking some texts. I don't have to say why, because I was there with both of them Thursday. Schiff's not releasing it because it obliterates his fairy tale quid pro quo charge. Yes, it does. And on Monday, Zeldin blasted the media's lack of interest in the full transcript of the impeachment inquiry's first witness, choosing instead to rely on the Democrats for details. He wrote on Twitter, fascinating that much of the media has had zero interest in reporting on what was actually said by Ambassador Volker last Thursday in response to several hours of questioning by the Democrats and GOP. It's like they don't want to hear any truths that don't support Schiff's quid pro quo fairy tale. That's right. Who do you think the media, whose side do you think the media is on? Of course. So they're going to let Schiff go ahead and cherry pick whatever he wants. They're not going to demand to see the transcript. Why? Because they know it will be contrary to what Schiff is saying. So they just don't ask. Oh, they're so unprofessional. really, I just hope and pray that someday this great nation will have a free press again. Really, that is able to do actual investigative journalism, and, well, any type of journalism would be great, because we're not getting that now, except for, the alternate media. So, alternative media. And, yeah, let me see. Last week, the chairman cherry-picked and mischaracterized a series of texts, that would be Schiff, provided by Volker during his testimony Thursday to fuel their impeachment agenda. In his prepared remarks, Volker stressed that the text proved the Trump administration did not pressure Ukraine to investigate Biden and his son. Nevertheless, the Democrats claimed the text proved the opposite, and the media reported their allegations as a smoking gun. The only thing smoking is their head. Yeah, because there's nothing in there. Just refuse. So, I don't know what's between their ears. I really don't know. I've never been able to figure it out. I think, though, they were probably, reasonably intelligent at one time, but I think once you sell your soul to the devil, so to speak, not that I'm necessarily, although some probably really have, but yeah, I think once you've sold out to that degree, just to get a paycheck, and I think it just dulls your senses. Anyway, a text from Gordon Sondland, the U.S. ambassador to the European Union, explicitly said there was no quid pro quo of any kind between Trump and Zelensky. Representative Jim Jordan, the founding member of the House Freedom Caucus, also called on the Democrats to release the full transcript of Volker's testimony. Jordan wrote on Twitter Sunday, Volker was very clear, no quid pro quo of any kind. The American people should see all of Ambassador Volker's testimony. Will Representative Schiff let them? Of course not. Unless he's made to. He's not gonna. Are you really? He's up this far in doo-doo. Really. And I think he's stopped breathing now, because I think it's up, past his nose. I think he's just kind of, got that wide-eyed look, knowing that he's going under. Going under. So, and this from Representative Jim Jordan, Ambassador Volker was very clear. Burisma had a history of corruption and was inextricably linked to the Ukraine government. He was also very clear, no quid pro quo of any kind. The American people should see all of Ambassador Volker's testimony. Will Schiff let them? Heck no. He added in a different tweet, the media is giving legitimate corruption concerns a total pass, misconstruing the facts and helping further Representative Schiff's impeachment agenda. Well, of course, it's the media. What do we expect? Excuse me. And no, for those of you wondering, this is kombucha. It's nothing hard. I'm not a drinker. Well, maybe perhaps every 6 months I might have a glass of wine with a good meal, but not a drinker per se. All right. It says here, Representative Jim Jordan, this is his tweet, says it is absolutely appropriate for the president to call for rooting out corruption in any country with whom we do business. Well, of course it is. The media is giving legitimate corruption concerns a total pass, misconstruing the facts and helping further Representative Adam Schiff's impeachment agenda. So, echoing his colleagues, Representative Mark Meadows wrote on Twitter Friday, Ambassador Volker's full interview yesterday directly undermined the salacious impeachment narrative Democrats are trying to sell you. They don't want you to see that. It's why they're leaking supplemental documents and text messages out of context. Of course. Isn't that what they've been doing from day one? I mean, well, I really started following all this stuff in 2016. So I can't say that I've been following some of these people like Meadows and all these people. I haven't been following that, but I have certainly been aware of some of the Democrats' tactics. And certainly since 2016, I have been aware of the Democrats' tactics. And it seems that from day one of this presidency, they've been using the same playbook over and over and over and over again. And, they somehow think, isn't it's not really the clinical definition of insanity, but I've heard it say that, you do the same thing over and over again and you expect different results. That's insanity. If you're doing the same thing, you're going to get the same thing. Well, the Democrats just haven't learned that yet because they keep doing the same things over and over and over again, hoping something's going to work. Well, it's not. It's not going to work. Anyway, let's go on from this because we're pretty much up to date on all of this stuff, but I did want to get to that, and I've got lots more to get to, so I better pick up the pace. All right. Now, this from Running the Race, and I saw this on Twitter, and it says misspellings matter. Now, he's saying this because Q, 3rd of March, 2018, said, where we go one, we go all. Misspellings matter. Sentence formation matters. Learn. Q. Okay, and I think we all remember that because we have paid very close attention to the things that have been tweeted out and so forth, and misspellings. Even, with the Q post, we were always very much aware of misspellings and words left out and so forth. Well, the same goes for Trump's tweets. And he tweeted this. He said, a total scam by the do-nothing Democrats for the good of the country. This witch hunt should end now. Now, something that I didn't do and I should have, and so I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to look at the word witch. See if anything, Robert Wirch, a Democratic member of the Wisconsin State Senate. I guess he still is. Well, this is interesting. It says, witch hunt trending after another Donald Trump typo. Of course, they want to make it seem like Donald Trump is, just inept and, somewhat semi-retarded. And I don't even like to use that word. But they really make it seem like he is just the dumbest thing. Now, granted, I always ask people that say that to me. They always say, he is so stupid. And I'll look at them and I'll say, why? So you think you're smarter than Trump? Yes. Well, then why aren't you a billionaire? Why haven't you built hotels all over the world? Why haven't you done something successful with your life? If he's so stupid and you're so smart, they never have an answer for that. Now, let's look at this guy. You guys from Wisconsin may know all about him, but I don't. So let me see. No, he was in the Wisconsin State Assembly from 1993 through 1997. So is this what Trump is talking about? Is this guy involved in something? I don't know. He was born in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And what's his claim to fame? On February 24th, 2011, taxpayers to recall Robert Wirch officially registered with the Wisconsin Government Accountability Board as a result of the 2011 Wisconsin protests, 13,537 valid signatures of electors residing within the 27 district had to be collected by April 25th, 2011 to generate a recall election. On April 21st, taxpayers to recall Robert Wirch filed 18,300 signatures with Wisconsin's Government Accountability Board. On August 16th, 2011, Wirch won 57% of the vote in a recall election, defeating Republican Jonathan Stites. There's no doubt in my mind that Trump is telling us something with the Wirch. And it's odd that when I Google it, this is the first thing that turns up. I think that's a little odd. Well, I didn't really Google it. I start paged it. And this is a great search engine for those that want to be anonymous. I don't want Google seeing everything I search for because it may come back to haunt me at some point. They're going to say, well, why were you searching for this and this and this? It's a conspiracy. You don't know. So anyway, and then there's Glendy's Wirch, and this is, sorry, I'm taking a minute here because this, obviously Trump meant something by this. Bob Wirch for state senate. So I don't know how old this is, and I certainly don't like to go to Facebook, but I don't know. I'm going to have to look into this. I should have done that beforehand, and I didn't think about it until I saw it again, and I thought, oh, I should have Googled that to see, because there's something there, and I will be on that, and hopefully I will have an answer for you tomorrow. It says Democratic dinner, Bob Wirch and History Center. Well, this is the 7th of May, 2019. So, Wisconsin State Senator Robert Wirch. I don't know. But I'm going to look into this. And if any of you guys know, please let me know in the comments because it helps us all. I don't have all the answers and none of us have all the answers. But together, when we put our heads together, we have one big head. Or something like that. All right, so let's go back now. I need to keep moving here. And yeah, so the Wirch hunt should end now. Interesting, but I can just about guarantee that means something because, yeah, definitely. Okay, breaking news. Trey Gowdy joins Trump legal team to fight impeachment inquiry. I think that's good news because Trey Gowdy is pretty impressive, if you ask me. I've been extremely impressed with him. So I think that this is, a little bit of good news. And let's go on here. Let's look at this just for a laugh, because Hillary, well, let me go ahead. Hillary teases 2020 run. Obviously, I can beat him again. Beat him again? You didn't beat him the first time. What is wrong with this woman? Really, what's wrong with her? Well, besides the fact that she really probably has, well, yeah, I can guarantee she sold her soul to the devil. And she's one of the most wicked women that has ever walked the face of the earth. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. Hillary Clinton once again teased a possible 2020 presidential run against Donald Trump. By presidential run, she can't even walk. She can't even do the presidential walk, let alone presidential run against Donald Trump by asserting, obviously, I can beat him again. No, you can't. No, not even close. You couldn't even win a rigged election, Hillary. You think that everybody's gonna, put their neck on the line for you again? Cheat again for you? Well, maybe they will. I don't know, but you still won't win. No, not even close. Perhaps someone should remind Hillary of her failure to beat him the first time. Clinton made the comments during an appearance on PBS NewsHour. Her beat him again reference was in relation to the popular vote, which isn't how presidents are elected in the United States. But don't tell Hillary, she doesn't know. It's true. It truly is remarkable. I'm not going to play this because her voice irritates me, and I don't even know anymore which is her double and which is her, because I'm telling you, every time I look at her, her face changes, her weight changes, her hair, everything. It's just, I don't know how many doubles she has. It is truly remarkable how obsessed he remains with me, Clinton joked, presumably forgetful of the fact that she has been whining about Trump for almost 3 solid years. Oh yes, but Trump's obsessed with her. Yeah, I don't think so, Hillary. Yeah. Clinton fanned the flames of speculation about a third run for president again yesterday when she tweeted at Trump, "Don't tempt me." Are you kidding me? You know, Trump would have a field day with her. A field day. In fact, that would be blockbuster television right there. Get them debating. I bet you the whole of the USA would watch. The whole world would watch. I'm thinking they would. just for the fireworks. I think that crooked Hillary Clinton should enter the race to try and steal it away from uber left Elizabeth Warren. Only one condition. The crooked one must explain all of her high crimes and misdemeanors, including how and why she deleted 33,000 emails after getting C subpoena. Hillary Clinton, don't tempt me. Do your job. Can you imagine? Can you imagine living with a woman that's that deluded and that egotistical? She's a narcissist, a classic narcissist, an evil narcissist, an evil, twisted narcissist. As we highlighted yesterday, the odds of Hillary becoming the 2020 Democratic nominee amongst a poor field of candidates are also at their highest in months. During an appearance on Stephen Colbert's show last week, Clinton announced she would not endorse any of the Democratic candidates, fueling speculation that she may yet enter the race. Former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon also thinks that Hillary is waiting for the right moment to enter the race. Now, personally, this is my opinion, I still have not ruled out Michelle Michael Obama. I really haven't. Very, very popular. Now, probably less popular than she thinks she is. But I don't know. I wouldn't rule it out. And I wouldn't rule Clinton out. Because Clinton's a narcissist. And, you know, she just wants to be president before she dies. I don't know. Why? Once you're dead, are you going to know you were president? I don't know. Probably not. Oh, I think her time could be better spent, making good for all her sins, paying retribution, repenting. Maybe that's just me. All right, let's go back now. No, really, let's. Okay. And let's look at this. Breaking, Fox News reports Mueller allegedly lied under oath when he said he was not interviewing for FBI director. Well. Now, this is from yesterday. I'm hoping this is new news to you.
More information to bolster his claims that his campaign and his presidency have been unfairly targeted for investigation. A senior administration official tells Fox News exclusively that the investigation into the genesis of the Russia probe is expected to be released later this month and that its findings will be detailed. The Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz has been looking into whether there were abuses of the FISA system to begin surveillance of Trump campaign officials that ultimately led to the Mueller investigation. Sources also say another investigation into the Russia probe, this one headed up by veteran prosecutor John Durham, has been expanded based on what Durham is finding. He has added staff and agents and has widened the timeline of the investigation past Election Day and into the spring of 2017 when Robert Mueller was appointed special counsel. No word on when Durham's investigation will be completed. Fox News has also learned that Mueller was not accurate when he told Congress on July 24th that he was not interviewing for the position of FBI director when he met President Trump in the Oval Office in May of 2017.
My understanding, I was not applying for the job. I was asked to give my input on what it would take to do the job.
Multiple administration officials tell Fox News that when Mueller met the president on May 16, 2017, he was indeed pursuing the post left open by the firing of James Comey a week earlier. In fact, Mueller was looking at two possible jobs, FBI director and special counsel. According to documents obtained by Judicial Watch in a Freedom of Information request, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein had talked with Mueller about the possibility of becoming special counsel before he met with President Trump. In an email dated May 12th, Rosenstein wrote to Mueller, quote, "The boss and his staff do not know about our discussions." The day after Mueller met with the president, Rosenstein appointed him as special counsel. The president's former outside attorney was outraged that Mueller interviewed for the FBI position knowing that he could become special counsel. John Dowd telling Fox News Mueller's actions were, quote, "the most dishonorable conduct I have ever witnessed."
Isn't that interesting?
The President Trump.
Yeah. And notice it said, well, Mueller wasn't truthful. Instead of saying he lied, he wasn't truthful. Yeah. In other words, he lied. He lied. Unbelievable. And yet, so believable. All right. Let's go and see what other trouble we can get into. All right, let's look at this. Yep, more more conflicts of interest. The actual whistleblower himself, not only is he a registered Democrat, but he has a professional relationship with one of the Democrats running against President Donald Trump in 2020. Well. Wouldn't that be a perhaps conflict of interest? Slightly? Hugely? Now, this is 1 minute and 2 seconds long, so I'm going to play it.
Trump's been under permanent investigation for 3 years at this point. They can't get him. The guy's bulletproof at this point, and if he cooperates, he's guilty. If he doesn't cooperate, he's guilty. He can't win. So what is America going to do? They're going to have one anonymous CIA agent overturn the will of 60 million people? That's not going to fly in this country. And to make Adam Schiff the face of impeachment is a huge miscalculation. Adam Schiff is like the Jussie Smollett of John Brennan's. He's got no credibility. He's totally compromised. And everything he says, no one believes at this point. And I do want to do a mini deep dive into the deep state because I have some new information to bring you guys. Yay. One of the lawyers for the whistleblower used to work for the Southern Poverty Law Center, the ACLU, Hillary Clinton, and Chuck Schumer. The other lawyer for the whistleblower is being advised by John Podesta, Hillary's campaign manager, and the actual whistleblower himself. Not only is he a registered Democrat, but he has a professional relationship with one of the Democrats running against Trump in 2020.
Wow. You know, this just gets more and more twisted, and it just comes out better and better for Trump. He just comes out smelling like a rose all the time. I've never seen the likes of it. If that were you or me, really, we'd be in jail by now. I mean, they would have found something to stick. Not with Trump. Unreal. Nobody can convince me that the guy's not a genius. All right. Well, let's come down here. And this by, I guess his name is pronounced Chiz. And he says, Adam Schiff says the whistleblower is receiving death threats. Yeah, he is. That's what Adam Schiff is saying. Now think about that. Nobody knows who the whistleblower is, but you, Adam. Are you the one sending him death threats? Blah, ha, 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 ha. What an idiot. Oh, I think idiot is far too kind to him. Really. Nobody knows who the whistleblower is. Do you know who he is? Or she? No, none of us do. So how can he or she be getting death threats? Please tell us, Adam Schiff. Really? Are you the one sending the threats? I don't know. I mean, from my understanding, nobody knew who the whistleblower was. All right. Now, this is interesting, but I think I'm wanting, okay. we just touched on this about the Democrats, but I'll leave that because I can leave it as a link when I post it to Patreon for just further information for you guys. Now let's let's look at this because this is from John Solomon and I happen to trust him. Okay, well, this is the Gateway Pundit reporting on what John Solomon said. Sorry, Democrats, it's over. John Solomon drops bomb. Info omitted from whistleblower report. Ukraine was reopening probe into Hunter Biden's company in February of this year, long before that phone call in July ever happened. Well, that kind of puts a kink in the narrative, doesn't it? A big old kink in the narrative. Yep. Breaking report, President Trump did not threaten Ukrainians to reopen investigation of the Biden crime family. The Ukrainian government reopened the investigation of the Biden crime family in February. The whistleblower may have known this, but omitted it from his complaint against President Trump. Well, naturally he would. John Solomon dropped this bomb tonight on Hannity. John Solomon, I can confirm to you tonight, the U.S. government has open source intelligence and was aware that as early as February in 2019 that the Ukrainian government was planning on reopening the Burisma investigation. This was long before the president ever imagined to have a call with President Zelensky. In fact, it's before President Zelensky was even elected. This is a significant shift in the factual timeline. This is information that was omitted from the whistleblower's complaint. Well, naturally it would be, wouldn't it? Since the whistleblower is, a registered Democrat and has his lawyers have so much dealing with the Democrats and Hillary and John Podesta so I would think that he's got a bias right off the start. But hey, what do I know? Well, I'll tell you what I do know. When you look at this logically, none of it makes sense. None of it. Not on the Democrat side. So, there you go. How are they going to explain that? Why would Trump try to shake down the Ukrainian president when the investigation was already happening? And Trump would have known that. Trump knows. He makes it his job to know what's going on. Yeah, so I found that just a tad bit fascinating. Now, let's look at this. Got to pick up the pace so that we don't, because we've got lots to cover. Okay. Oh, shite, the moment FBI agents found Hillary Clinton's email on Anthony Weiner's laptop. This is from yesterday, the New York Post. According to FBI technicians, there were over 340,000 emails between Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin. FBI agents were stunned to find thousands of Hillary Clinton's private emails while examining Anthony Weiner's electronic devices for explicit text messages with a teen girl, a new book alleges. The agents called the discovery an oh shite moment as they combed through Weiner's iPhone, iPad, and laptop after it was revealed he had been sending inappropriate messages to a minor. Journalist James B. Stewart claims in his new book, Deep State, Trump, the FBI, and the Rule of Law, out Tuesday. So it was out yesterday, so we should be able to find a copy of that, and I might just do that. You can't stop me. Within hours of the September 26, 2016 search warrant, FBI technicians noticed there were 340,000 emails on the laptop between Clinton and her top aide, Weiner's wife, Huma Abedin. I would never marry a man named Weiner. I'm just saying. Many of them from domain addresses such as HillaryClinton.com and state.gov. At an FBI briefing later that week, one participant said the revelation was like dropping a bomb in the middle of the meeting. But the discovery fell through the cracks because top FBI officials were overwhelmed by the Russia probe, Stewart wrote. Determined New York FBI agent was scared by what he found and pressed his superiors to finish the job. I'm telling you that we have potentially 10 times the volume that Director Comey said we had on record, the agent recounted to Stewart. Why isn't anybody here? The book also revealed how former FBI lawyer Lisa Page lied to bosses at the Bureau about her affair with Agent Peter Strzok, telling FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe the pair were never romantically involved. Now, here's the thing that I find interesting, fascinating, a little curious. All of the... I believe that the rash of suicides are tied to exactly this. And I believe that it was the FBI cleaning up loose ends because they were covering for her. That is what I believe. Now, could I be wrong? Absolutely, I could. And if somebody has a better scenario, I'd like to hear it because that is what I believe happened. This is just 340,000 emails. And why haven't we seen any of these? Now, okay, some of them could have been classified and so forth, but why hasn't? And I know it takes time to comb through that many emails, but still, this is unbelievable. So anyway, let's go back because we've got more to get to. We always do. And, what is this? Yes. This is interesting as well. Okay, this from Judicial Watch, who I trust and who I think is doing a marvelous job. Judicial Watch, new State Department documents reveal last-minute efforts by Obama State Department to undermine President Trump. This should surprise exactly no one, but the fact that they have been able to prove that, well, that's pretty. Now, this is actually old. This is from September 9th, but this is the first time I'm seeing it, and so I'm passing it on to you. Hopefully, you will have heard it already, and it'll be old news, and you'll just say, I've heard it already. But in case you haven't, emails show Hillary Clinton supporters' efforts to get classified documents and raw intelligence on alleged Russian involvement in 2016 election to Capitol Hill before Trump inauguration. Judicial Watch today released 90 pages of heavily redacted U.S. Department state documents showing Obama State Department officials' efforts to disseminate classified information to multiple U.S. senators immediately prior to President Donald Trump's inauguration. The information, which included raw intelligence purported to show malign Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. Among the senators receiving the classified documents were Senator Mark Warner, Senator Ben Cardin, and Senator Robert Corker. Judicial Watch obtained the documents through a June 2018 Freedom of Information Act lawsuit filed against the State Department after it failed to respond to a February 2018 request seeking records of the Obama State Department's last-minute efforts to share classified information about Russia election interference issues with Democratic Senator Ben Cardin. And a January 13, 2017 email from Hera Abbasi, a former congressional advisor in the State Department's Bureau of Legislative Affairs, suggests that the intelligence community was providing, quote, raw intel to Senator Warner. Such an exchange almost certainly would have been coordinated by the officer of the Director of National Intelligence. Yes, that is correct. Warner / raw intel stuff is going through IC channels. Abbasi previously worked in Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office and was a 2017 Next Generation National Security Fellow at the Liberal Center for the New American Security. Abbasi donated $725 to the Clinton campaign and Act Blue during the 2016 election cycle. The documents uncovered by Judicial Watch show early in the process of gathering and clearing classified information, beginning a day after Senator Mark Warner formally asked then Secretary of State John Kerry for intelligence products and raw intelligence on Russian involvement in the 2016 election. Assistant Secretary of State Julia Freefield brings Senior Advisor and Investigations Counsel Zachary Scram into the loop in a January 5th, 2017 email chain in which she says Scram would help figure out the best way to get these to the Hill. Freefield was an Obama appointee who previously served as Maryland Democratic Senator Barbara Mikulski's chief of staff. Freefield contributed $2,700 to the 2016 Clinton campaign. On January 11th, 2017, former State Department Senator Congressional Advisor Catherine Harris sends an email to Abbasi. Naz Durakoglu was a senior advisor to the Assistant Secretary for European and Eurasian Affairs, Kathleen Kavalek, and others. If we are not going through the standard CDP collection due process, others in H need to weigh in on how to move these to the Hill. In emails written on January 10th and 11th, 2017, from Abbasi to Durakoglu and Kavalek, Abbasi expresses the need to get the documents cleared as soon as possible. On January 17th, 3 days before Trump's inauguration, 3 days before his inauguration, Kavalek emails Abbasi, Durakoglu, and others, emphasizing again that getting the documents to Cardin and Warner is a priority and urges the process to be sped up. Agree. This is a priority, and I don't see why lengthy reviews are required. I would suggest we set up the things that can go immediately, and if there is any concern about specific internal documents, those be adjudicated separately and sent up as a follow-on. In a January 18th, 2017 email from Naz Durakoglu to Elizabeth Lawrence, Abbasi, Karem Bilge, and others regarding the processing of the request, Durakoglu writes, there is a time sensitivity to these documents. Shedding additional light on possible irregularities in the release process, a January 17th, 2017 email revealed that ODNI, then led by James Clapper, was involved in clearing cables for release to the Hill. State Department official Cody Walsh emails Scram and Lauren Gills that the ODNI is fine with the State Department sharing cables with the Hill. On January 13th, 2017, at 10:27, Durakoglu emails more than a dozen State Department employees invoking the name of then State Department Assistant Secretary of State Victoria Nuland to reiterate the need to accelerate the process of getting materials prepared to go to the Hill. Hi all, this is a priority for our Assistant Secretary. Is there anything we can do to better facilitate the process? 2 minutes later, Durakoglu emails Karem Bilge and two others, where are we on clearances? Do I need to ask Toria to raise with Julia? The clock is ticking. Durakoglu at the time was a senior advisor to Nuland. Durakoglu currently works for the Atlantic Council. She contributed $1,600 to the Clinton campaign in 2016. The concluding unredacted section of an otherwise heavily redacted email sent on Friday, January 13th, 2017 by former Foreign Service officer Karem Bilge to numerous state employees indicates the intense time pressure under which state officials were operating to beat the Inauguration Day deadline. You believe this?
Please clear the action memo by noon, Tuesday, January 17. Please clear on the actual package of documents if you have not done so already by noon, Tuesday, January 17th. Emphasis in original. I want to get the whole package into the EUR front office today. That means we can get it out of EUR and to M, Undersecretary for Management, on Wednesday, January 18th. Then H can courier it to the Hill on Thursday, January 19th. In January 18th email, as time was running out, Elizabeth Warren described getting the package of cables to Cardin and Warner as urgent. This is an urgent package from the EUR that they're trying to get to the Hill ASAP. Please review so we can get it up to M. Lawrence is a career foreign service officer, now in the consul in New Delhi, and was previously a foreign policy advisor to Illinois Democratic Senator Dick Durbin. A DC-based State Department employee with her name is on record as having donated a cumulative total of $1,000 to the Clinton campaign in 2016. The final batch of cables were stored in Kavalek's safe. President Trump was inaugurated less than 24 hours later. These documents show how the Obama State Department, staffed by Clinton donors, improperly and perhaps illegally rushed classified information to their anti-Trump allies in the U.S. Senate, says Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton. The Obama State Department was central to the conspiracy smear The Obama State Department was central to the conspiracy to smear President Trump with Russiagate lies and innuendo. The Justice Department must explain any Spygate criminal investigation to include this agency. Judicial Watch previously released documents showing classified information was researched and disseminated to multiple U.S. senators by the Obama administration immediately prior to President Donald Trump's inauguration. The documents reveal that among those receiving the classified documents were Senator Mark Warner, Senator Ben Cardin, and Senator Robert Corker. A January 19, 2017 email from Durakoglu sums it up. We made the deadline. Thank you, everyone, for what was truly a department-wide effort. Judicial Watch previously released an email exchange between then Assistant Secretary of State Victoria Nuland and Special Coordinator for Libya Jonathan Weiner, a close associate of dossier author Christopher Steele, discussing a face-to-face meeting on a Russian matter. In May 2019, Judicial Watch uncovered documents showing a conversation between Kavalek and former Associate Deputy Attorney General Bruce Orr discussing the targeting of Donald Trump with Steele dossier material. In June, Judicial Watch made public documents revealing that the State Department Special Coordinator for Libya, Jonathan Weiner, played a key role in facilitating Steele's access to other top government officials, prominent international business executives. Weiner was even approached by a movie producer about making a movie about the Russiagate targeting of President Trump. Judicial Watch also uncovered documents showing Nuland and Weiner coordinating with then House Minority Whip Steny Hoyer's National Security Advisor Daniel Silverberg to work on Russian dossier materials provided by Steele. So there's no way, absolutely no way, that Obama can get out of this, because his administration was responsible for the targeting of Donald Trump. No question. No question. So let's see what else we can get to in the bit of time we have left. And let's see here. Let's look at this. Because, I'm going to have to take a sip before this. Representative Ilhan Omar, my adultery is the fault of the Republicans and the Jews. Let that sink in for a minute. And ask yourself, how is that possible? It's not. She's a piece of work. When the media is your PR arm, you can get away with anything. It worked for Adolf Goebbels and his merry band of Jew haters too. For months, Representative Ilhan Omar denied that her marriage was effectively over, despite the Post reporting that she'd been named as the other woman in a divorce suit. She and her husband even put on a show of maintaining a common domicile. But all that's out the window now that Congresswoman has filed for divorce from husband Ahmed Hershey, for whom she has 3 minor children, citing an irretrievable breakdown of the marriage relationship. The two married in a religious ceremony in 2002, separated in 2008, then married legally in 2018, but August brought the divorce filing from Dr. Beth Minette in Washington, D.C. civil court, alleging that her political consultant husband, Tim Minette, had told her he was leaving her for Omar. Representative Ilhan Omar is always the victim. Nothing is her fault. Everything is the fault of the mean people, Republicans, Jews, Americans, who keep tearing her down. Even her divorce is the fault of her critics. A representative for Omar tells TMZ, as with all marriages, this is intensely personal and a difficult time for their family. For years, Ilhan and Ahmed have been the object of speculation and innuendo from political opponents and the media. Gee, I wonder why. The statement continues, this has taken a significant toll on Ilhan, Ahmed, and their 3 children. Just like any other family navigating this kind of transition, Ilhan wishes to have their privacy respected for themselves and their children and will not be commenting any further. Really? It's the people noting that Ilhan had allegedly married her brother who caused her latest marriage to fall apart by getting her to have an affair with a married man? Apparently. According to her. Yeah. Oh. Occasional internet discussions didn't cause this love match to come apart. Certainly they didn't get Omar to launch into what is an allegedly adulterous affair. Omar really needs to stop blaming the Jews for everything. According to the divorce docs obtained by TMZ, Omar says there's been an irretrievable breakdown of the marriage relationship. She states the couple has 3 minor children who she wants joint legal custody and physical custody of, and wants to deny spousal support to each side. Omar wants the court to decide child support, but doesn't indicate who should receive it. Since she wants custody, I'm going to guess that she wants it. Sad. It's all about the Benjamins. It always is. So anyway, there you go. It's Ilhan Omar. Yep, it's the fault of the Republicans and the Jews. Right. Okay. Whatever you say, Ilhan. Now, let's look at... Okay, I'm going to leave these for another... And let's look at this. No, really, let's look at it. Okay, defense official arrested for leaking...
The Department of Justice on Wednesday announced the arrest of a defense intelligence...
Yes, I'm not going to get into all this, but defense official arrested for leaking information to journalists. This is from today. The Department of Justice on Wednesday announced the arrest of a Defense Intelligence Agency official for allegedly leaking classified information to journalists, including one with whom he was apparently in a relationship. Yep. Law enforcement officials arrested 30-year-old Henry Kyle Freese of Virginia as he arrived at work Tuesday morning and charged him with 2 counts of willful transmission of national defense information. If convicted, he faces a maximum of 20 years in prison. According to charging documents filed with a federal court in Virginia, the information that Freese allegedly leaked involved a foreign country's weapons system. The Justice Department would not identify the journalists, the outlets they work for, or the country that the leaked documents concerned. The filings detailed the FBI surveillance of Freese and how they captured phone calls and direct messages on Twitter between him and the 2 journalists who apparently both covered national security. One of the journalists apparently lived with and possibly dated Freese, according to the charging documents. The journalist allegedly referred Freese to the other journalist, who was the more senior of the two. Freese said in a message on Twitter that he was willing to talk to the more senior reporter if it helped the younger one progress. The more senior journalist allegedly published 8 articles between May and July of 2018 containing classified information from intelligence reports that Freese accessed. John Dem'S, the head of the Justice Department's National Security Division, said during a call with reporters Wednesday that the arrest was part of the agency's effort to step up its crackdown on government employees leaking classified information. Leaks of classified information cause undeniable damage to our national security, Dem'S said. Dem'S, though, demurred when a reporter asked how the leak of information about another country damaged U.S. national security. Dem'S said Freese was the 6th person to be charged with leaking to the media or the public over the past 2 years. Well, I think that's good, because if your job is to zip it, you need to zip it. If you've got security clearance and you've passed your clearances and you've got a job at that level, you know what? You need to be responsible with that information, because if it endangers American lives, and even if it doesn't, that information is meant to be kept secure. So I'm all for that, personally. Okay, now let's see if there's anything else I can touch on. Now there was one thing here. I'm going to touch on this. I know I'm over the time limit, but I am going to touch on this. And this will be the end, because this is very interesting. This came from the True Pundit. The CIA just declassified the document that justified the Iraq invasion. The Bush White House looks very, very, very bad. Now, this is interesting to say the very, very least. The same crowd who have made a recent career of slamming President Trump have some explaining of their own to do. Just last week, for example, Colin Powell slammed Trump. Glass houses. The Bush cabal are, simply put, professional liars, according to the CIA documents made public long after the Bush presidency. We travel back to when Trump announced his campaign for president, while at the same time the CIA threw Bush under the Iraq bus. Some 17 years ago, the intelligence community concluded in a 93-page classified document used to classify the invasion of Iraq that it lacked specific information on many key aspects of Iraqi President Saddam Hussein's weapons of mass destruction, WMD programs. But that's not what top Bush administration officials said during their campaign to sell the war to the American people. Those officials, citing the same classified document, asserted with no uncertainty that Iraq was actively pursuing nuclear weapons, concealing a vast chemical and biological weapons arsenal, and posing an immediate and grave threat to the U.S. national security. Congress eventually concluded that the Bush administration had overstated its dire warnings about the Iraqi threat, and that the administration's claims about Iraq's WMD, weapons of mass destruction program, were not supported by the underlying intelligence reporting. But that underlying intelligence reporting contained in the so-called National Intelligence Estimate that was used to justify the invasion has remained shrouded in mystery until now. The CIA released a copy of the NIE in 2004 in response to a Freedom of Information Act request, but redacted virtually all of it, citing a threat to national security. Then last year, John Greenwald, who operates the Black Vault, a clearinghouse for declassified government documents, asked the CIA to take another look at the October 2002 NIE to determine whether any additional portions of it could be declassified. The agency responded to Greenwald this past January, and provided him with a new version of the NIE, which he shared exclusively with Vice News. That restores the majority of the pre-war Iraq intelligence that has eluded historians, journalists, and war critics for more than a decade. Some previously redacted portions of the NIE had previously been disclosed in congressional reports. The fact that the NIE concluded that there was no operational tie between Saddam and al-Qaeda did not offset this alarming assessment. Also, I want to let you guys know that Saddam Hussein was a CIA asset. Now, I happen to know that personally. Yes, I do. So, he was most definitely a CIA asset, and there was something going on there. I don't know. But, yeah. For the first time, the public can now read the hastily drafted CIA document that led Congress to pass a joint resolution authorizing the use of military force in Iraq, a costly war launched March 20th, 2003, that was predicated on disarming Iraq of its non-existent weapons of mass destruction, overthrowing Saddam Hussein, and freeing the Iraqi people. Yeah, freeing them, right. A report issued by the government-funded think tank RAND Corporation last December, titled Blinders, Blunders, and Wars, said the NIE contained several qualifiers that were dropped. As the draft NIE went up the intelligence chain of command, the conclusions were treated increasingly definitively. An example of that, according to the newly declassified NIE, the intelligence community concluded that Iraq probably had renovated a production plant to manufacture biological weapons, but were unable to determine whether agent research had resumed. The NIE also said Hussein did not have sufficient material to manufacture any nuclear weapons, and the information we have on Iraqi nuclear personnel does not appear consistent with a coherent effort to reconstitute a nuclear weapons program. One of the most significant parts of the NIE revealed for the first time is the section pertaining to Iraq's alleged links to al-Qaeda. In September 2002, then Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld claimed the U.S. had bulletproof evidence linking Hussein's regime to the terrorist group. No, they didn't. We do have solid evidence of the presence in Iraq of al-Qaeda members, including some that have been in Baghdad, Rumsfeld said. We have what we consider to be very reliable reporting of senior-level contacts going back a decade, and of possible chemical and biological agent training. But the NIE said its information about a working relationship between al-Qaeda and Iraq was based on sources of varying reliability, like Iraqi defectors, and it was not at all clear that Hussein had been aware of a relationship, if in fact there was one. As with much of the information on the overall relationship, details on training and support are secondhand, the NIE said. The presence of al-Qaeda militants in Iraq poses many questions. We do not know to what extent Baghdad may have been actively complicit in this use of its territory for safe haven and transit. The declassified NIE provides details about the sources of some of the suspect intelligence concerning allegations Iraq trained al-Qaeda operatives on chemical and biological weapons deployment, sources like war on terror detainees who were rendered to secret CIA black site prisons, and others who were turned over to foreign intelligence services and tortured. Congress later investigation into pre-war Iraqi intelligence concluded that the intelligence community based its claims about Iraq's chemical and biological training provided to an al-Qaeda on a single source. Yeah, the war boiled down to a single source. Detainee Ibn al-Sheikh al-Libi, I'm not sure I pronounced that, I probably decimated it, who had significant responsibility for training, has told us that Iraq provided unspecified chemical or biological weapons training for 2 al-Qaeda members beginning in December 2000. The NIE says he has claimed, however, that Iraq never sent any chemical, biological, or nuclear substance or any trainers to al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. Al-Libi was the emir of the Khaldan training camp in Afghanistan, which the Taliban closed prior to 9/11 because al-Libi refused to turn over control to Osama bin Laden. Some of this information was cited by Secretary of State Colin Powell in his speech to the United Nations was used as a justification for the 2003 invasion of Iraq. The Senate torture report said whoever that name is, I can't pronounce that, recanted the claim after he was rendered to CIA custody on February 2003, claiming he had been tortured by and only told them what he assessed they wanted to hear. Al-Libi reportedly committed suicide in a Libyan prison in 2009, about a month after human rights investigators met with him. So, I mean, I think most of us that are up, to date with all this stuff and are aware of what really happened on 9/11 and so forth. Well, I shouldn't say what really happened. I should say what didn't happen on 9/11. Know that, his father, Bush Sr., had a long vendetta against Saddam, and I think that that had more to do with it than we probably think it did. So anyway, this is just extremely interesting, isn't it? All this stuff is coming out about past administration and previous administration before that. I just think it's all very interesting, and yet nothing sticks to Trump. You gotta wonder why. I think it's because there's nothing to stick. That's what I think. Now, I think I'm going to leave it there. I do have more, but, oh, you know what? Let's just throw this in for kicks and giggles here. AOC says billionaires should not exist. Right. Unless it's her, probably. She'd be okay if she was a billionaire, but she doesn't want anybody else to be one. This woman looks just demon possessed. I don't know. I don't know. AOC, billionaires should not exist. So if you're a billionaire, shame on you. She's back, and this time telling you that the government should be able to control people's wealth in a capitalism environment. It's been apparent for some time that AOC has one goal for America, and that's socialism. She doubled down on her idiocracy on Thursday. Billionaires should not exist. Now, this is late. I've meant to bring this to you I don't know how many times, but I always, slough it off. But she doubled down here on her idiocracy on Thursday. Billionaires should not exist. Does not mean certain people should not exist. It means no person should have $1 billion. The ascent of billionaires is a symptom and outcome of an immoral system that tells people affordable insulin is impossible, but exploitation is fine, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said in her tweet. She was responding to an interview of Blackstone's Schwarzman, who was quoted as saying that maybe Bernie Sanders should not exist, in reference to another tweet from Senator Sanders in which he also called for billionaires, where he said billionaires shouldn't exist. Isn't it amazing how the left is so ignorant that they don't even understand satire? Yeah, well, I don't think they understand much of anything. So that's it for tonight, and I will leave it in the. I'll leave it in the. I'll put a note on it that's the same. It would be in the same area as the notes that I leave when I'm going to be late. Posting, or I'm not going to be posting. So I will leave a link to the other channel, and please go over there, subscribe, like, and share, because I want to get that channel built up. So in case anything happens to this channel, we have another place to go. All right. That's it for tonight. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys more than you could ever possibly know, really. You make my days much brighter. That is the truth, and that's all I'm going to say. Anyway, you guys stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and keep seeking truth. I'll talk to you real soon. Good night.